Hi, my name is Nathan Bray, and in this presentation, I would just like to go over some of the roles and responsibilities that I would perform as a contract digital project manager or assisting with digital marketing. So this presentation is for small to mid-sized companies that may need assistance with the responsibilities that are performed by a digital project or marketing manager, but are possibly not ready to hire this person for a full-time role. So some of the benefits of hiring a contract digital marketing or digital project manager are that many business owners and staff are often not entirely sure as to what they want to do or even need to do to make stuff happen in their digital world. For example, seeing web projects or online marketing campaigns through from beginning to end, and what a digital project manager will do is alleviate these responsibilities from the business owners and key staff so that they're able to focus their time and energy on core business functions and still make progress with their web and digital products or projects. Each company has a different need, so my roles as a digital project manager are going to be complex and they do require a unique skill set. So what I'd like to do is in this presentation is just cover a list of roles and responsibilities that I will perform as your digital project manager, which will hopefully bring value to your organization. So once you go through this presentation, please reach out if you'd like to learn more. My email is nathan@creativewebpros.com. I'd be happy to schedule a follow-up call or meeting with you to discuss what questions you may have. So in this meeting, we discuss the scope of work and the value that it can bring to your company, such as freeing up time to focus more on your core strengths and business functions, increasing the pace at which your web projects get done. You can gain valuable insights from the analytics and competitive analysis reports that I can put together for you, and I can help you get your digital assets organized in an understandable manner, and hopefully potentially bring you higher ROI from your company's online marketing efforts. So what I'd like to do is just jump into this map, and this map is one of the tools that we will use when we're working together. Typically what I do is take this framework that I've created, and I would create a copy of this map, and then during our consultations we will actually utilize this map to customize and build it out so that it suits your own needs. So one of the things I'd like to do is get to know your company better, who your buyer personas are, and then from that we can develop a messaging strategy to determine what traffic channels we'll be using, discuss some of the software tools that I like to use that we'll be using throughout for managing and doing digital marketing projects, and then a list of projects that we would potentially be working on as a comprehensive plan or one-off projects over the weeks or months. And then I'll cover a little bit of the different cost structures. So I'll try to run through this as fast as possible, but part of the discovery process for the company is obviously getting to know who you are, the name, what your product and solutions are, what the features are of those products or solutions, the differentiators and value proposition you have, what type of revenue model you use, whether that's a recurring subscription model, if it's transactional by the project, or if you have a service. Interested in your goals. So what I'll need to know is what your top line revenue goals are, what kind of conversion goals you have, what type of web traffic goals, ad budget recommendations, and then how often you want to be running social media updates or email campaigns, etc. So a lot of these conversations we have are going to drive us to conversion goals and web traffic goals, which are going to have a lot to do with customer value, customer acquisition costs, and then so we can come up with the lifetime value for your customers, and then what you're able to budget towards acquiring those customers. So with buyer personas, determining whether you're a business direct to customer or consumer, or if you're a business to business, there are going to be things we need to talk about, such as who the profile is for that customer. We'll establish what marketing channels are going to be best to reach those folks, and then establish a sales process for them. And that goes for whether you're B2C or B2B. Messaging strategy is going to involve establishing, what the pains, problems, and challenges are for your customers and clients, and then we'll create content that addresses these pains, problems, or challenges that we'll use in ads, landing pages, potential blog posts, the email marketing we do, social media posts, flyers, brochures, and if you do webinar presentations. As far as managing the traffic channels go, there's the standard Facebook and Instagram, Google Ads, LinkedIn. We could do a seed launch. If you are a business to business, there's the option of cold email outreach, and then we can also tap into existing networks. So again, each of these are going to have their own set of tasks that are need to be done. Just for example, with Facebook and Instagram, we have a pixel. We need to create audiences, write ad copy, and then launch those with ad groups and ad sets. With Google Ads, we have YouTube video ad options. So creating a video ad in itself is a project, and then determining where we want those ads to display, whether it's on targeted videos or websites in the display network, and again, creating ad groups and ad sets. LinkedIn's a little bit different. Again, we have audiences. There's different types of audiences. LinkedIn has matched audiences. You can target folks by company or demographic, education, job experience, and interests. There's LinkedIn sponsored content, text ads, sponsored in-mail and display ads. And then a seed launch, we have surveys, community, social proof, and limited time offers. And as far as cold email outreach, we can either do things such as purchase a list of leads to reach out to, or create our own list with by doing research and potentially using like a bot or a web scraper to capture contact information. And then, of course, there's existing networks, so we may tap into this with campaigns such as text messaging or email outreach. Tools, there are a lot of tools. So these are some of the core tools I would use, such as MindMeister. That's what I'm doing this presentation in. There's Lucidchart, Google Sheets, Google Docs, and then there's a project management tool such as Trello or ClickUp. Then we're going to need a way to create and manage marketing assets. There's customer relationship management, marketing automation, and then analytics and reporting, and then team communication. So we can dive into this a little bit further here, and I'll just talk a little bit about how I use each of these tools. So typically with MindMeister, it's just for brainstorming, creating general overview maps. This is good to follow. Lucidchart, we have customer journey maps, visual standard operating procedures, and visual processes. For example, there's the classic evergreen launch funnel, which would look something like this. Again, it's just taking a process. We're going to be driving traffic and then educating our potential customers, putting them through a sales process, and then fulfilling on our, on our promise with our product or service. So again, what I would do is just create this map so that we have a visual overview of the process that a customer would be going through, like as a customer journey. These would be the traffic channels, an action that would be taken, where, what they would be doing. So if they, click through an ad, landing page, a thank you page, if we're offering, say, a webinar or some kind of a sign up, all the way through, creating a sales process, to a login, to accessing what it was that they purchased or that they signed up for. So again, a map like this, I would probably create a copy of this, and then it would be modified to suit your own needs as a business owner when we work together. And then, we would use this as somewhat of a dashboard to be able to link up either standard operating procedures from these, or link up directly to, say, like Facebook Ad Manager, Google Ads, whatever resource we're using. This kind of acts as like a dashboard. So that would be Lucidchart. And then I use Google Sheets for creating basically calculators and then listing out roles and responsibilities. So, for example, a digital marketing metrics worksheet might be something like this worksheet, where we would establish like operating costs, benchmark metrics, and then come up with some projections over the months so that we could establish what a value was, what our LTV to customer acquisition cost is, and then do somewhat of a projection over time. I just have some other scenarios. So again, this is just another scenario where we would take like a product price, we would input this, calculate what we want for ad spend, maybe other costs, potentially how many views, click-through rates, and it's just kind of like a sandbox to play around with to establish, potential revenue and what type of customer value to customer acquisition costs we would be running at. For Google Docs, again, we can have visual standard operating procedures, but then those should also be linked up to some kind of a written SOP, so that it's easy just to have a narrative around a standard operating procedure if you want to be able to, assign these tasks or processes to somebody on your team. Again, written processes, these are all projects that I can help with. And then Trello or ClickUp, these are just project management tools. Essentially what we do is take the roles and responsibilities, create these in Trello or ClickUp. That way we can assign dates to them and reminders. We have the ability to communicate within these tools. And then as far as marketing assets go, we're going to have things such as like landing pages, which I would suggest using either WordPress. There's page builders such as Beaver Builder or Elementor. There's ClickFunnels, which again is for creating landing pages. Banner graphics, there's several different tools we could use, like Banner Stack, Adobe Spark, or Canva. Video ads, we're going to want to do either a high quality production or some sort of explainer video, typically to market or advertise. So it's just something to think about. This is probably going to need to be priced out. And then social media, there is a good tool called Hootsuite where you can kind of manage and schedule posts all within the same platform for your different social networks. So like if if you want to distribute updates to, say, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook all from one place without having to go to each different platform to post the same thing, then Hootsuite's going to be a good choice. And then there's customer relationship management, marketing automation. A lot of people like to use MailChimp, or I would suggest ActiveCampaign. There's multiple of these, but these are two great and affordable platforms for creating email newsletters and follow-ups. to be used, like, just to remind customers about, the value that you provide, or also running like follow-up sales campaigns. Also, like say you're business to business and you're running a webinar and you have a webinar sign up, you would probably link your webinar platform to some like active campaign where you could do like a post-webinar follow-up, and just automate that sales follow-up. There's other tools such as HubSpot or Salesforce for managing, the sales process, following up with customers, taking notes, logging a history, and then Zoom, or EverWebinar. These are also tools that you can use for webinars. EverWebinar's a platform for doing like pre-recorded webinars. There's Facebook messaging, just another platform to consider where you may be potentially communicating with people. And then there's another good tool, which is woodpecker.io. There's different types of these platforms, but I found that Woodpecker is a good one. Is you can do cold email outreach. So, for example, say it's the first time that you want to reach out to a business and touch base. You can create campaigns. You can load your list into Woodpecker, and then create automated cold email outreach campaigns, which is actually it can save you a lot of time. So, for example, say you have a list of 500 potential businesses that you'd like to reach, and you have their contact information, and you want to kind of have some sort of generic message that you just want to use to maybe get them to sign up for a webinar or an initial sales call. Then Woodpecker is a great tool to use for that. And then obviously analytics and reporting, Google Analytics. We would just set up some goals in Google Analytics and then follow up with those conversion goals. Landing pages, time on page, exit pages. This is just all going to give us good data. Same with Facebook Analytics. As we're running campaigns, we want to just manage this and keep up to date on these reports. Within the team, obviously we use email, phone. Slack's a good one, and then we'd also be working within like Trello or ClickUp to manage that. So again, these are just some of the. Let me close this out. So these are just some of the the different projects we'd work on: buyer personas, messaging strategy, traffic channels, and tools. And then just to show you a list of project examples in an engagement, we'd probably start out doing something like working on this digital marketing, this map together, customizing it for your own needs, following up on that worksheet I showed you as far as establishing your own KPIs and goals. Then what we're going to do is bring all this over to like a roles and responsibilities worksheet. So since these are all the major projects, we'd be adding some sub items to these, individual items, kind of determining how long that would take to finish these, whether it's a day or a week, what the cost is to that, and then if required, linking those up to a standard operating procedure. So that's for roles and responsibilities. I can help on projects such as setting up these portals like Trello or ClickUp. I can help with creating written SOPs, like if there's one of these projects in particular that you would just like to have like something that you can give to your own team. I can create those written standard operating procedures and a visual map for those. If you need help with doing some like customer profile or discovery and creating a journey map, I can help with that. Landing page optimization. So this would just be like, doing an analysis of your landing page, maybe improving the design of it a little bit or the call to actions so that when you're driving traffic to these pages from ads, that there's, one primary call to action, and we're minimizing the exit points, which should encourage more signups and higher conversion rates. Then we have messaging campaigns. This might include not only your ads, but also follow-up email campaigns, like for business to business or cold outreach. Those would each be like a project to consider. If you are planning on doing webinars, I can help with the design and structure of like your webinar slides. There are keyword and competitive analysis reports, Facebook ad campaign setup, Google, YouTube ad campaign setup, LinkedIn ad campaign setups. Again, analytics review and reporting. And then if throughout this process of working together, there's other types of projects that need to be researched or estimated, then obviously I can help with that role. So let's talk a little bit about costs and structures for this. I'll go over some options, what the deliverables maybe, and then just some estimated fees. So just open these up a little bit so I can talk about each one. And so I have retainer, or a per project fee, performance fee, management fee, and hourly consulting fee. So these are all typical options that you'll find when working with a marketing or a project manager. And I'd say a retainer base, this is like your recurring payment every month for a period of time, whether that's 6 or 12 months or 24 months. It's a long-term commitment, and I feel like it's the most effective for rolling out multiple projects simultaneously, or it's effective once a business has some consistent revenue, because we're going to be working together long-term, and since there is a commitment, there's a payment that's due every month. And what goes with that is that we have an understanding that projects are going to be completed every month. You'll be able to depend on me, that I'm there to answer questions, whether that's on weekly meetings. You get frequent updates, and it's more like, as your project manager, I'm going to own that space and be there, kind of like an employee, but not. I mean, I'm still consulting, but it's a long-term commitment on both ends. Pay per project fee. I'd say this is effective for smaller sub-projects that might last anywhere from 1 to 4 weeks, and it's going to be easier for you to budget in the short term. This might be valuable for you, like if you're a startup, or you don't quite have your consistent revenue coming in. So what we would do with that is take any of these projects, price starting from the top, and then just roll them out as it suits your budget. So the downside to that is it may not be as comprehensive. For example, a messaging strategy for an email follow-up campaign is going to be different than a LinkedIn ad campaign, or say a landing page, but they all are going to work together. And so while it's useful to set up an ad campaign, it's probably going to be more effective if you have all the parts of that complete. And an ad campaign that goes to like some kind of a lead capture, whether that's a webinar or a report, and then also like the follow-up email campaign that's going to go with that. So again, per project fee may be more effective to roll out smaller projects that are in alignment with your budget over time, and then being able to reinvest into more projects as more revenue comes in. Performance fee, I would say that this is going to be better suited for companies that are established and have a solid product and margins already, to where there's something that we can measure, because it is risky as as a service provider myself, as a contractor, it's risky, even though this is probably going to provide the most upside for both of us, less risk for the business owner and more upside for me as a contractor, where basically I would just have a share in the upside of the revenue that's generated from these campaigns. There is also like a management fee which could be a percentage of the ad spend. And again, this is going to require solid product and margins. And again, we must have measurable conversion rates because it's risky for you as an owner or investor in your company just to be paying a percentage of the ad spend. So say it was going to be 10% of the ad spend, you're spending $10,000, then that it would be $1,000 fee on top of that we would need to factor into your customer acquisition costs. So the margins need to be there. There's also hourly consulting fees. I'd say these are least effective. I would prefer not to do hourly fees, especially on projects. These might work well for like one-off calls or short consultation sessions. But I would probably stay away from hourly fees for rolling out these projects. So those are some of the options as far as fee options go. Typically, the deliverables are going to fall into three categories, which are like the what, the how, and the execution. So I would say that like going over this map and talking about it is that's the what. This is somewhat of a plan. So I would say maybe a written plan and a strategy would be the what we're going to do. The how, we're going to create standard operating procedures and checklists to follow. And then the execution would be, the implementation done for you. And then the management, the ongoing management of these. Estimated fees, again, like a full comprehensive plan to flesh this whole thing out and have a plan and standard operating procedures for each of these, as well as budgets for what it would cost for each individual project is probably going to be anywhere from $12,000 to $15,000. And then rolling each of these projects out one by one can range from about $1,000 to $1,250 per project. So hopefully this was helpful. I'm just going to go ahead and minimize this again. Please let me know if you'd like to schedule a follow-up call and we can talk more about these in detail. I'd definitely like to dive in more, learn more about your company, what your goals are, and then how I can help establish some key performance indicators and then help you launch each of these marketing projects.